Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time. Like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, we see the
Imagine the king of hip-hop's empire crumbling. Not in a courtroom, not in a headline, but in the shadows, where past enemies are circling, old incidents are bubbling up, and the same forces that took down Diddy could be gunning for Jay-Z next. We've watched the fall of Sean Combs unfold in real time, the prison sentences, the new probes, the damning testimonies painting him as a predator hiding behind power. But now, insiders are whispering that the spotlight is shifting. And this time, it's aimed squarely at Sean Carter. The question isn't just whether Jay-Z has skeletons in his closet. It's whether those skeletons are about to burst out, dragging his billion-dollar legacy down with them. We can't ignore the timing. Just as Diddy's legal nightmare deepens, with the LA County Sheriff's Department launching a fresh investigation into allegations of misconduct from 2020, and his prison release date mysteriously extended, voices like Gene Deal are turning the conversation toward Jay-Z. The narrative is clear. If one mogul's dark past can unravel so spectacularly, why not another? And when we look at the patterns, the accusations of manipulation, the whispers of predatory behavior, the decades of carefully controlled public image, it's hard not to wonder, is Jay-Z next? The man who built an empire on savvy business moves and untouchable connections now faces a reckoning that feels inevitable. Because in the wake of Diddy's collapse, the rules have changed. The protections that once shielded men like them are eroding. And the stories that were once buried, they're resurfacing with a vengeance.
You understand? I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand.
Let's start with the contradictions. Jay-Z has spent years cultivating an image of a self-made titan, a husband, a father, a cultural architect who transcended the streets to become a boardroom legend. But behind that polished veneer, insiders claim there's another side. A shadow operator who allegedly betrayed allies, ducked conflicts when convenient, and, most disturbingly, preyed on vulnerable young women. These aren't just random rumors. They're part of a growing chorus, one that's getting louder as Diddy's downfall emboldens others to speak up. Take the explosive claims from figures like Jaguar Wright, who didn't just call Jay-Z a monster on public platforms. She alleged he's kept Beyoncé under control through substances, turning their marriage into what she describes as a business arrangement.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyoncé, who was struggling.
Then there's the former bodyguard known as Uncle Ron, who went viral earlier this year with allegations that Jay-Z has been pumping Beyoncé with substances to maintain dominance over her. The details are staggering, a marriage built on transaction, not love. A wife who, according to these accounts, is more employee than partner, and a power dynamic so extreme that even Bey's legendary independence might be an illusion. Now, ask yourself, if these claims hold even a grain of truth, what else has Jay-Z been hiding? The parallels to Diddy's case are impossible to miss. Both men rose to power in the same era, both wielded influence like a weapon, and both have faced whispers of questionable behavior for decades. But where Diddy's alleged crimes are now being dissected in courtrooms and police reports, Jay-Z's past has largely been shielded by his reputation, his legal team, and a carefully constructed PR machine. That shield, however, is showing cracks.
Threatening. I mean, let's just be real for a second. There are a lot of lawyers who call this legal extortion. And that this is the way the legal system works, which is you threaten somebody with reputational harm. And in this case, it's interesting that Jay-Z, who's very wealthy, said it would be financial ruin.
The same legal strategies that once kept scandals at bay, non-disclosure agreements, strategic silences, the threat of lawsuits, aren't as effective in 2025. The culture has shifted, survivors are speaking out, and the public is no longer willing to separate the art from the artist's actions. When Diddy was convicted on federal charges this summer, the message was clear. No amount of fame or fortune can outrun accountability forever. So why would Jay-Z be the exception? Now let's talk about the patterns. Diddy's downfall didn't happen overnight. It was a slow unraveling, fueled by civil lawsuits, criminal investigations, and a growing list of accusers who refused to stay silent. Jay-Z's situation mirrors that trajectory in eerie ways. There's the long-standing speculation about his relationships with young women in the industry, allegations that stretch back to the 90s when he was reportedly pursuing Aaliyah while she was still a teenager.
And we do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy.
Dame Dash, his former business partner, has openly discussed the bitterness Jay-Z harbored over Aaliyah's rejection, painting a picture of a man obsessed with control. Then there's the Foxy Brown rumors, revived by Wendy Williams of all people, who casually dropped on her show that Jay-Z and the rapper had a romantical thing before Beyoncé. On its own, that might just be tabloid fodder. But when you layer it alongside the claims from Jaguar Wright, who's been sounding the alarm on both Diddy and Jay-Z for years, a darker narrative emerges. Wright didn't just call Jay-Z a predator. She framed him as part of a system, one where powerful men allegedly used their influence to exploit and silence. And if we've learned anything from the Diddy trial, it's that where there's one accuser, there are often more waiting in the wings. The timing of all this is no coincidence. Diddy's legal troubles have opened the floodgates, and the entertainment world is bracing for the next domino to fall. Just look at how quickly the LA Sheriff's Department moved to investigate new allegations against Combs. Allegations that, if proven, could add years to his prison sentence. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's name is being dragged into the conversation not by fringe commentators, but by people who've worked alongside him.
Jay-Z got his ass whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got his ass. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your ass whooped.
Gene Deal, a figure with deep ties to hip-hop's inner circles, has been vocal about Jay-Z's alleged betrayals, suggesting he spent years playing both sides, staying loyal to no one but himself. And then there's the matter of R. Kelly. Dame Dash has publicly slammed Jay-Z for collaborating with Kelly not once, but twice after Kelly's history of abusing young women, including Aaliyah, was already an open secret. Dash's disgust wasn't just personal, it was a moral indictment. If Jay-Z was willing to overlook Kelly's crimes for the sake of a paycheck, what else was he willing to ignore? But here's where things get even more complicated. Jay-Z isn't just facing rumors about his personal life. There are questions about his business practices too. The same empire that made him a billionaire, Roc Nation, Tidal, his vast network of investments, has long operated under a veil of secrecy.
Yeah.
At this point, I would want, why?
And now, as Diddy's legal team scrambles to appeal his conviction, insiders are asking, who else in their circle might be vulnerable? The RICO charges that nearly took Diddy down were built on the idea that his business was a front for criminal activity. Could the same logic apply to Jay-Z's operations? We know he's faced lawsuits before, from investors, from artists, from former partners who claim they were shut out or manipulated. But what if those disputes are just to the tip of the iceberg? What if, like Diddy, Jay-Z's success was built on more than just talent and hustle? Let's not forget the cultural moment we're in. The public's tolerance for powerful men with dark pasts is at an all-time low. The Me Too movement didn't just expose individuals, it dismantled entire systems of protection. And Jay-Z, for all his carefully curated image as a family man and philanthropist, has never fully addressed the whispers about his past. He's never had to. Until now.
It's into those things. That's in the indictment. Cassie has not denied it, but they've came out and said, that Diddy used to like to watch Cassie. That's what he's into. Some men like to do that stuff. There's not a crime in that. But yes, Ray J, from what I was told, from being inside at the highest level, that Jay-Z likes to watch Beyoncé with different men, such as Ray J.
Because the same forces that brought down Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and now Diddy aren't going away. They're gaining momentum. And if Jay-Z's name keeps coming up in these conversations, it's only a matter of time before someone with real leverage, an accuser, a former associate, a prosecutor, decides to pull the thread. There's another layer to this too. Beyoncé, the most powerful woman in music, a global icon who spent her career crafting an image of strength and independence. If even a fraction of the allegations about their marriage are true, the implications are staggering. We're not just talking about a personal scandal. We're talking about the potential collapse of a dynasty. The Carters aren't just a power couple. They're a brand, a cultural institution.
I would hope he would think about it and this would be in his mind, but I wouldn't actually know what another person is feeling.
And if that brand is built on a foundation of coercion and control, the fallout wouldn't just be personal. It would be seismic. Remember, Beyoncé has hinted at turmoil in their relationship before. Lemonade wasn't just an album. It was a public reckoning with infidelity and power imbalances. But what if the truth is even darker than she let on? What if the Becky with the good hair scandal was just the surface? Now, let's connect the dots. Diddy's conviction was the result of a years-long investigation, one that started with a single accuser and snowballed into a federal case. Jay-Z's situation could follow the same path. The allegations from Jaguar Wright and Uncle Ron might seem outlandish to some, but they're not happening in a vacuum. They're part of a larger pattern. One where powerful men in hip-hop are finally being held accountable for behavior that was once ignored or excused.
Walked away, got no money.
Got nothing.
Over.
And Jay-Z celebrated that, the fact that...
We should say, and it was filed by the lawyer who has filed a slew of...
And Jay-Z, with his history of alleged manipulation and his connections to some of the industry's most controversial figures, is suddenly looking a lot more exposed. We also can't ignore the legal landscape. Diddy's team is already fighting to reduce his sentence, arguing that the charges against him were overblown. But the fact remains, he's in prison, his reputation is in tatters, and his empire is crumbling. Jay-Z, meanwhile, has managed to avoid serious legal trouble for decades, but that doesn't mean the threats aren't there. Civil lawsuits, criminal investigations, the kind of scrutiny that comes when the public starts demanding answers. None of it is off the table. And if the past is any indication where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So, where does this leave us? With more questions than answers. If Jay-Z's past is as problematic as insiders claim, why hasn't it come to light sooner? Who's been protecting him, and what happens when that protection disappears? And perhaps most importantly, what's hiding in the corners of his history that he doesn't want us to see? The pieces are starting to fit together, and the picture they're painting isn't pretty. But here's the thing about reckonings. They don't happen all at once. They build slowly until the pressure becomes too much to contain. Diddy's downfall was the first crack in the dam. Jay-Z's could be the flood. And that brings us to the most chilling question of all. If these dark rumors are true, who's next to step forward? Because in the court of public opinion, it only takes one credible voice to change everything. One accuser, one leaked document, one former associate with nothing left to lose. The dominoes are lined up. The only question is which one falls first. The whispers about Jay-Z's betrayals aren't just coming from random critics. They're coming from people who were once in his inner circle. Gene Deal, a name that carries weight in hip-hop's underground networks, has been vocal about how Jay-Z allegedly turned on allies when it suited him.
And you're like, you say greed? Greed. The money?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the power, one of the two. I mean, it looks more like power.
It's this spell, right?
Right.
That Jay got. That's why I kind of look at Kanye and Dame and all them. They the old me.
Right.
They the YouTube me.
Yeah. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That this Dame look like the old YouTube me to me, because he hurt, bro.
This isn't just about personal grudges. It's about a pattern. Deal's claims suggest Jay-Z didn't just outmaneuver rivals. He allegedly abandoned them when the stakes got high, leaving former partners exposed while he consolidated his own power. Sound familiar? It's the same playbook critics say Diddy used for years, dropping associates the moment they became a liability. And now, with Diddy's empire in freefall, the question isn't just whether Jay-Z played the same game. It's whether the people he left behind are finally ready to talk. What's even more damning is how this contrasts with Jay-Z's public persona. He's the guy who raps about loyalty, who built his brand on being the ultimate strategist, the chess player who always stays 3 moves ahead. But behind the scenes, the stories paint a different picture. Take the feud with Dame Dash, for example. Their partnership at Rockefeller was legendary, until it wasn't. Dash has gone on record saying Jay-Z's bitterness over Aaliyah wasn't just personal. It was a turning point in their relationship.
I seen Puffy independent. All the people that got hated on in the game, look where they ended up. So I can see my future. I can see what's going on here. This independency is gonna be big. I'm gonna have my own shit. But this ain't to just target him. I just book about my life, a movie about my life. Why not?
He claims Jay-Z couldn't handle losing out to him, and that resentment festered into something uglier. Then, there's the way Jay-Z allegedly handled the R. Kelly collaborations, pushing forward with not 1, but 2 projects with the singer even after Kelly's history with underage women was an open secret. Dame Dash didn't just call that out. He said he wanted no part of the profits, directing any money toward Aaliyah's foundation instead. That's not just a business dispute, that's a moral line in the sand. And it raises a chilling question. If Jay-Z was willing to overlook Kelly's alleged crimes for the sake of a payday, what else was he willing to ignore? Now, let's talk about the alliances that once made Jay-Z untouchable. For years, he's been shielded by a network of powerful friends, legal firepower, and a PR machine that could spin any scandal into a non-story. But that network is showing cracks.
I think I sent you that thing with Jazz. Jazz went in when they was going at it on Jay. But you look at the Jazz now, it's like he's on eggshells now. Like something happened. Like this can stop your career or whatever you're doing. This is what I try to tell dudes, yo, whatever God got for you, I don't give a damn billionaire, whoever, this, that, and the third. You can't stop it.
The same industry figures who once stayed silent are starting to speak up, emboldened by Diddy's downfall. And it's not just old rivals like Dame Dash. It's people who've worked alongside him, who've seen the inner workings of his empire. Jaguar Wright didn't just call Jay-Z a monster. She framed him as part of a system, one where young women were allegedly exploited and silenced. Her claims aren't isolated. They're part of a growing narrative, one that ties Jay-Z to the same dark undercurrents that brought down Diddy. And if there's one thing we've learned from the Combs case, it's that once the dominoes start falling, they don't stop at just one name. The legal landscape is shifting too. Diddy's conviction wasn't just about his actions, it was about the structure of his empire. Prosecutors argued that Bad Boy Records wasn't just a label, it was a front for a criminal enterprise, one that allegedly facilitated exploitation under the guise of business. Now, imagine that same logic applied to Roc Nation.
It's not just karma, that's just the forces of nature or how things work. You ruin people's lives, you do harmful things, and who's to say that he might ever pay that price? Who's to say he even done anything wrong to anybody else in his eyes? To me, that's not even the same person. That's someone else. It's not the Sean, the Jay I grew up with.
The lawsuits, the settlements, the whispers about questionable deals. What if those aren't just isolated incidents? What if they're part of a larger pattern? We know Jay-Z has faced legal challenges before, from investors suing over Tidal's finances to artists claiming they were shortchanged. But what if those disputes are just the tip of the iceberg? What if, like Diddy, Jay-Z's business success is built on more than just talent and hustle? The RICO charges that nearly took Diddy down were built on the idea that his empire was a vehicle for criminal activity. Could the same argument be made about Jay-Z's operations? It's a question that's starting to circulate in legal circles, and it's one that could have serious consequences. Then there's the matter of the women. The allegations about Jay-Z's past relationships with young women in the industry aren't new, but they're taking on a new urgency in the wake of Diddy's conviction. Aaliyah's name keeps coming up, and not just because of her tragic end. It's because of the questions surrounding her relationships with powerful men in the industry, men like R. Kelly, and allegedly Jay-Z.
So, as we look at Jay-Z's life, he's a billionaire, married to Beyoncé. Do you feel like he's truly reaped the karma of all his actions?
Where the karma is at?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't see it.
Well.
Or do you feel like he ever will?
I feel like if you done people wrong, you done people wrong.
The timeline is unsettling. Jay-Z was in his late 20s when Aaliyah was still a teenager. Dame Dash has said Jay-Z was courting her, sending flowers, making his intentions clear. And while nothing was ever proven, the optics are damning. Especially when you consider how Jay-Z allegedly reacted when Dame Dash won Aaliyah's affection instead. If the claims about his bitterness are true, what does that say about his attitude toward young women in his orbit? And if Aaliyah's story is just one piece of a larger pattern, how many others might be out there waiting to speak up? The connections don't stop there. Foxy Brown's name has resurfaced in these conversations, thanks in part to Wendy Williams' bombshell claims about their past relationship. Williams didn't just suggest they had a romantical thing, she framed it as something that happened before Beyoncé, back when Jay-Z was still solidifying his power in the industry. Now, why does that matter? Because it fits into a narrative that's starting to take shape, a pattern of alleged relationships with young women who were just starting their careers, women who may have been vulnerable to manipulation. And if we're talking about vulnerability, we can't ignore the claims about Beyoncé. The allegations that Jay-Z has kept her under control, allegedly using substances to maintain dominance, aren't just tabloid fodder. They're part of a larger conversation about power dynamics in their marriage. Remember, Beyoncé was just 18 when they started dating. 18. And Jay-Z was already a seasoned industry player, a man with a reputation for playing the long game.
Father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different than...
If even a fraction of these claims are true, the implications are staggering. But here's where things get even more complicated. The entertainment industry is built on secrets, on NDAs and hush money and carefully crafted narratives. Jay-Z has always been a master of controlling his story. But control only works when the people around you stay silent. And right now, the silence is breaking.
What's the first sucker move that he pulled, in your opinion?
Wow, I got a string of them, but look at me in my face, right? During my trial, look at me in my face telling me, yo, don't worry about it, bro. I got you. And I never see him again.
The same forces that took down Diddy, lawsuits, investigations, the courage of survivors coming forward, are now turning their attention to other powerful men in the industry. Jay-Z's name is at the top of that list, and it's not just because of his past, it's because of his present. The way he's allegedly handled these rumors, the way his team has reportedly moved to suppress stories, the way he's stayed silent while others speak up. It's all starting to look like a man who's got something to hide. Let's not forget the cultural moment we're in. The public isn't just tired of powerful men getting away with questionable behavior. They're demanding accountability, and the legal system is starting to listen. Diddy's conviction wasn't just a personal downfall. It was a signal that no amount of fame or fortune can protect you forever.
Man, this timeline is crazy, man.
I know. So many things coming at one time.
Jay-Z has to know that. He's too smart not to. But knowing it and preparing for it are two different things. And right now, it doesn't look like he's prepared. The lawsuits are piling up. The whispers are getting louder. And the people who once had his back, they're starting to distance themselves. That's how these things work. One by one, the alliances crumble. One by one, the secrets come out. And one by one, the powerful fall. Now, let's talk about the unseen forces at play. Diddy's downfall wasn't just the result of his own actions. It was the result of a perfect storm, a cultural shift, a legal system that's finally willing to hold powerful men accountable, and a media landscape that's hungry for the truth. Jay-Z is facing that same storm. And if the past is any indication, it's not going to be pretty.
The thing that happened is Tupac's family is reportedly deciding to investigate the rumors that Diddy was involved in Tupac's
video. https www.youtube.com/watch. The same legal strategies that once kept him safe. Settlements, non-disclosure agreements, the threat of lawsuits aren't as effective as they used to be. The public isn't buying silence anymore. They're demanding answers. And if Jay-Z doesn't have good ones, the consequences could be catastrophic. But here's the thing about reckonings. They don't happen overnight. They build slowly, one revelation at a time, until the pressure becomes too much to contain. Diddy's downfall was the first crack in the dam. Jay-Z's could be the flood. And if that happens, it won't just be his reputation on the line. It'll be his empire, his legacy, his family. Because when the dominoes start falling, they don't stop at just one name. They take everything down with them. So where does that leave us? With more questions than answers. If Jay-Z's past is as problematic as insiders claim, why hasn't it come to light sooner? Who's been protecting him? And what happens when that protection disappears? And perhaps most importantly, what's hiding in the corners of his history that he doesn't want us to see? The pieces are starting to fit together, and the picture they're painting isn't pretty. But here's the thing about reckonings. They don't happen all at once. They build slowly until the pressure becomes too much to contain. Diddy's downfall was the first crack in the dam. Jay-Z's could be the flood. And that brings us to the most chilling question of all. If these dark rumors are true, who's next to step forward? Because in the court of public opinion, it only takes one credible voice to change everything. One accuser, one leaked document, one former associate with nothing left to lose. The dominoes are lined up. The only question is which one falls first. So tell us, do you think Jay-Z's empire is about to crumble, or is this just another storm he'll weather? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you're ready for the truth, and don't forget to subscribe. Because when the next bombshell drops, you'll want to be the first to see it. Stay fierce, stay curious, and remember, in the world of power and secrets, the truth always finds a way out. Until next time.